Hello all, welcome back to Consciousness Rising. I'm going to be adding, as I said before, I said I'm going to do another shadow work video, which will go alongside what I've already done on shadow work in the Consciousness Rising playlist. But I'm going to do additional videos on some of those subjects just to flesh them out a bit more, or to add a few points that maybe I missed. Because this is an ongoing procedure, this channel, it's an ongoing journey, and things will change and things will evolve, and it is really good to revisit subjects. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh god, I've heard that before. It's always nice to watch people's videos where they revisit certain subject areas, and I think it's important. And one thing I didn't cover, which I feel is really important to cover in EFT, is the additional points. Now they're finger points, so these meridians that run through our system are found in other places other than the face. I obviously, if you've never seen any of my EFT videos before, I recommend you go to my playlist and start from the beginning. I've got one on which basically shows you the history of EFT and also how it works and how to do it yourself. And there's also a video on how to work with trauma, because trauma is one of the things that I always like to work with people. I get a lot of people coming to me with trauma, so EFT is very powerful for that. But there are additional points on the body where these acupressure points or these meridian points can be accessed. Okay, and I'm going to go through them now because I think it's really important to do that. Okay, so these are just to rehash, these are the quote-unquote main points of EFT. And like I said, I'm not going to go through the procedure how to do it. That's all in video 1 and also video 2. But these are the main points that are used on the face and also parts of the body. They are end points to meridians. I might do a video separately one day explaining what the meridians actually are associated to in the body, because every meridian has a organ or part of the body that it sort of links with. So for instance, straight away under the eye point there, as you see there, is linked to the stomach, so that's the stomach meridian, and each one is linked to a different thing. I won't go over that today, but that might be a future video that I do if you really want to know all that stuff for theory. Okay, so as well as these points, these are what's known as the finger points. You can use these instead of or in addition to the points that I've just showed you. And as is shown in that image there, you've still got the karate chop point, so you would still tap on the karate chop, and then the actual points of the meridians, this is one of the best images I've found. It's right where the nail bed is, but if you just tap the edge of the thumb there, as it says, I'll get the mouse just to show you. So that's the thumb point. That's actually where it is, but you can tap anywhere here, you'll access that point. And then you've got the index finger. So there's one on there. There's one on the middle finger, again near the nail bed. You skip this one, and I'll explain why in a minute. And then there's the little finger. So you've got the thumb, the index, the middle finger, the little finger, and also the karate chop. What these are really good for as well is, say you're in a cafe, you don't want to really be tapping on your face. EFT's weird enough as it is and unusual, and you just want to do some, and you're feeling a bit anxious, maybe you're out in public, maybe you haven't been out in public for ages because of everything that's been going on and you're feeling a bit anxious. Well, these are great just to tap under the table when you've got your coffee, wherever you are, in a coffee shop or wherever you are, and just gently tap, and you will get release. They work just as good because the body's all linked in this way. You'll notice that dark spot there, which is called the Gamut point. Now, the reason you don't tap on the third finger is because you will be doing something in a minute, which is a very strange procedure, and I'm including it in this video because it's also very powerful. Something called the 9 Gamut. Now, that Gamut point there is, as it shows, it's between the little finger and the third finger, between the knuckles and just up a bit. So you just access it a bit up. And that's the reason you wouldn't tap your finger, because you'd be accessing that point instead. Now, the 9 Gamut procedure is very strange, but it is extremely powerful, and I'm going to explain why. So, why you might include the 9 Gamut point, because actually a lot of practitioners don't use the 9 Gamut procedure anymore. Personally, actually, even I don't really use it much with clients. However, it's got its place. Now, these are some of the things that it's really good for. It is very, very good for balancing the hemispheres of the brain. Now, I spoke about that on episode 1 of my Consciousness Rising, how people can be, more right-brained or they can be more left-brained, but in the middle is where you want to be. You want to be able to access your whole brain. You want to be a balanced individual, so both hemispheres are important. The 9-gamut procedure is very good at that. It's very, very good for people who might be on the autistic spectrum. I've heard of in fact, the lady that trained me in EFT, she said she had an autistic client who would only do the 9-gamut because they felt so much relief from doing it. Because when you've got a condition like autism, they are locked into the right brain more. So this just balances them out. As I've put there, it uses and harmonises both the right and left hemisphere of the brain. Now, these points are really, really important as well. It's very, very good for early childhood trauma, and what I've put in brackets there, it's before you have conscious memory, because sometimes we have traumas that we're not really sure what happened. So we know something's wrong, we know we have these blocks and anxieties in our life, but we can't remember anything to do with it. So we don't have the memory. Obviously in EFT, when you tap on the face, and I've said so much before, haven't I, the importance of tapping on specific events. You can't always do that if you can't remember the event. So this is a good one to do if something's a bit hazy. Okay, so early childhood is obviously very typical of that, because often we don't remember all our bits from childhood. Our memory only goes back so far, or it becomes very, very hazy and sort of blotchy. So it's very good to use the 9-gamut for that. Another good point for using the 9-gamut is you're not really talking about a memory. So you're just using this very, very strange procedure, which I'm going to go through in a minute. But these are some of the points. Birth trauma. There is, I think it's Otto Rank, one of the sort of psychologists that came after Freud and Jung. He places a lot of emphasis on birth trauma, and in fact that's our one first trauma that we all go through, the splitting off from the mother. And some children and some adults that were children, because we were all children, some of us had very, very traumatic births, and our mothers did as well, obviously, because they're in that process. But it might be that something happened there that you don't realise you're carrying around, because that's how energy works. When energy is scarred, it's scarred until it's readjusted with EFT or some sort of energy practice. Womb trauma. 9-gamut is very good for that. Again, I've put caused by the environment. So, for instance, I'm sure I've touched on this before, but when a fetus is in utero, around the 3rd trimester, I believe it starts forming its subconscious. So if your parents, for instance, have a massive row, or if maybe your mother is bereaved because something's gone on and she's traumatized, well, that trauma will carry from the mother to the fetus. So therefore we can be traumatized while we're still in utero. So the 9-gamut can be very, very powerful there. Research shows that this procedure has a link to the memory of trauma and the healing of trauma. So it's very, very good for trauma. I mean, EFT in general is very, very good for trauma. You'll see in the procedure in a minute, and it is a very odd procedure, but, just bear with me a minute. Sometimes it has been noted in research that when some people are talking about trauma, or they're reliving the trauma, quote unquote, they get a fluttering of the eyes. Now, this is something to do with the way our eyes work and how it accesses our memory. So sometimes, you can visibly see a flutter, and this study was done where it was a good way of knowing if the healing had worked, because they would assess the eyes of the person talking about the trauma. If the flutter was there, then the healing needed to happen. The fragmentation, the scarring, the energetic scarring was there. Once it was done after, they would check in again. And if that fluttering had stopped, which it did do, once this is done properly, that means the trauma's gone. It's released from the energetic system. Okay, so that's really, really powerful stuff. So anyway, I will go on to explain this procedure. It is very, very strange, but it's very, very powerful as well. So this is the whole procedure. So what you would do, as it says there on the left, I've explained where the gamut point is. You would continuously tap that point throughout this whole procedure, not stopping. So you would while you're continuously tapping on that gamut point, you would close your eyes, open your eyes, Keeping your head still, you would look hard down to the right. Keeping your head still, look hard down to the left. Roll your eyes in a full circle clockwise, slowly. Roll your eyes then in a full anti-clockwise circle. So you go back the other way. Hum 5 seconds of any song. Happy Birthday is a quite common one because it's one we all know. And then you would count to 5 out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hum Happy Birthday. Go like that. It's a very, very strange procedure, and yeah, it's probably not one you're going to do in public. But like I've said to you, it's got some really, really powerful benefits. And actually, when I first learned EFT, the first thing she did was to teach us the face points. But she did what's called the whole recipe. The whole recipe brings everything together. So you tap on the karate chop point, even though I've got this whatever. I deeply and completely accept myself. And then you go through every point on the face, and then you'd go through every point on the fingers, and then you would do the 9 gamut. So it was a much longer procedure, but very, very deeper. So yeah, I just, so give it a try. Think of something that perhaps is irking you. Because let's face it, none of us are perfect. We've all got little energetic scars, that we have that need healing and releasing. Give it a try. Tap on that gamut point continuously. Don't stop, and then close your eyes. Open your eyes. Down to the right, eyes. Down to the left. Roll your eyes in a circle. Roll your eyes in a circle the other way. Hum 5 seconds of Happy Birthday. Count to 5. Hum 5 seconds of Happy Birthday again, and then check in. Check in with yourself. How do I feel? Do I feel that something shifted? When people come to see me, I always explain to them that, when energy shifts, it could be completely individual to you. Some people burp, some people fart, some people breathe and sigh. A typical one for me is yawning. That's very common. I've had people in my family that have done EFT and have had tingly feet. But that's all signs that the energy is shifting, because you are energy. Even your body is energy. If you broke it down, it's just vibrating at a different frequency. So, that's another thing. I get so frustrated with people when they say, oh, get beyond the body, get beyond the body. You are your body. People are so stupid. Like, your body is still part of your soul. Again, I'm going to touch on that in the shadow work video. But, yeah, give all that a go. See what you think. But that's pretty much most of the technique now. My next EFT video, once I get my head around the editing, which I still haven't done, I will talk you through some meditations that you can do, and hopefully it will bring some comfort and healing to you. So take care, guys. See you again.